Welcome to GothCast. I'm Dr.Sanders, and today I'm taking a look at this very heavy book, which is The Art of Tim Burton, and I'll put it down because it is very heavy. Like I said, The Art of Tim Burton was published in 2009, and the way I actually found out about it was I went to go see the Tim Burton LACMA, the LA County Museum of the Arts exhibit on Tim Burton. So there was all these props from his movies, and there was like the suit from Edward Scissorhands and stuff. But I went to go see that, and at the end they kind of had like the little shop where it has like the little Boy figures and all that stuff. They had this book, and it was called The Art of Tim Burton. It's a big bound one, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna be spending a lot of money, because this book, even today, is not cheap. It was less when I bought it. I think it was like $100 or something, or maybe like $120, which seems like a lot, and it is for a book. I know, but it's a pretty beefy book, and one of the things I can compliment more than anything is the presentation. I really do like the cover with the kind of like little see-through Tim Burton figure on the front, and all the pages are very glossy and very, very high resolution of all his art. And it's basically a collection of all of his little sketches and watercolors and all these like little production designs that he had done for all his movies. It has some writing in it, but it's not a autobiography of Tim Burton. It's not a book going over his, you know, in detail, his history with his art and how it evolved necessarily. It does have some of that in the beginning, basically like a little description of when he was growing up in Burbank and how his art kind of transitioned into monsters, and then for his movies how he would do the sketches and everything. But then after that it's broken up into sections. So you have things like monsters and creatures, you have people, you have clowns. If you don't like clowns, this is probably not the best book for you, because there's actually quite a huge section on clowns. It seems like he really liked them, and a lot of them are very creepy. Actually, one of my favorite things in this book is the art that he did for the Black Cauldron that was never really used. If you don't know, obviously Tim Burton, he you know, makes Disney movies, but he was working for Disney before he was famous, and he worked on the Black Cauldron for a few years, but I don't think they ended up really going with any of his work. He also worked on Fox and the Hound, but I think they threw out a lot of his art for that too. Said he couldn't draw Disney eyes, which I think is pretty funny. One of the things I would have really liked more from this book is longer snippets and quotes from other people, because you do have quotes from actors who were in his movies or people who worked with him, like Danny DeVito, Winona Ryder, Martin Landau. You do have their quotes of working with Tim Burton, you know, like what he was like and what the experience of working with him was like. But I kind of wish they were a little bit longer. I mean, the Winona Ryder one's is probably the longest one, or one of the longest ones. You also have Helena Bonham Carter, and I know that they're not together anymore, but this is when they still were. You know, books tend to either go two ways, and that's either they get way cheaper with time, you know, like just a few dollars, or they become very expensive and either keep their price or get way blown out of proportion. This book is definitely in the latter camp, in that right now the books go for anywhere from $150 to $200. I know that there's another version of it, like a reprinting version, that goes for, I don't know, like hundreds of dollars, and that's kind of disappointing. You know, this is a great book. I'm actually really glad I bought it when I did, because a lot of this art you don't get to see from a lot of these smaller books. You know, there are different smaller versions of this book, like there's the, I think it's the MoMA book, and there's also the napkin art of Tim Burton that he's done, where it kind of takes some of this and puts it into a smaller format that's cheaper. But this book, I really liked how it kind of just put everything into one. Like, I don't really need to buy another book for The Art of Tim Burton, because this pretty much catalogs everything. And it does it really well. I really like the fold-outs in it, where you can pull it out and it's like multiple pages of art. I think those look really, really cool. You know, my favorite pieces of art in here are definitely his watercolors. because I love to watercolor paint, and his just has so much character. I mean, they didn't really go through and clean up a lot of his art, so you still have the scratchy lines, and with the watercolor you see a lot of the dabs of water that just kind of bled really badly, and some of the art doesn't even look like it's in very good condition. But I think they did a really good job of not only kind of cleaning up some things and presenting it well with, you know, collage of like a category of it, but I think they did a really good job of preserving the original intention of his art, which is just to kind of get the point across and just kind of express himself. If you can find this book and you're a fan of Tim Burton, I definitely recommend it, because you know, while his movies are very artsy and all that stuff, there's not a ton said about his actual artwork. I know his style is, I know, very distinctive, but it's nice to see actually what goes on his head in a more personal way. Like I said, trying to find this at a cheap price is a little harder, but if you're a diehard Tim Burton fan, I really recommend it. So I hope you like this look at this extremely heavy book, and of course you can like, comment, and subscribe, and stay spooky.